welcome to and the podcast goes to the final episode of ScreenCrush's award season podcast. Sadly, because now award season is over, but it's kind of nice because it was a little exhausting.
It was something.
I'm Erin Whitney, senior editor at ScreenCrush, coming to you from New York.
I'm Britt Hayes, associate editor at ScreenCrush, coming to you from Austin, Texas.
All right, so we just had the nuttiest Oscars in Oscar history.
Oh my God. So I know I'm not alone, and you already know this. We already talked about this, but at the end of the awards, whatever, telecast, I guess, as soon as they announced La La Land as the winner, I turned my TV off. I was like, I'm done. Well, I didn't turn my TV off, but I pressed stop or change the channel or whatever I did. And I was just like, screw this. Who cares? And I was very annoyed. And I think I just decided to watch an episode of The Good Place or something. And then Matt, our editor-in-chief, texts me and is asking for help sending out our newsletter.
Oh, this is a good 30 minutes later, too. So you found out late.
Yeah. So I got online and I was like, oh, I'll send the newsletter. I'll help him out. And I do that. And it shows all the posts that we have, the most recent posts. And I'm like, wait, what? And it's watch the crazy award season snafu. And I was like, wait, what? What? It was Moonlight won. And I was like, wait, what? And I had to go and watch the videos. I was like, no, wait, what?
I was literally screaming at my TV because I had the post already prepped. I hit publish. I was very proud of myself for getting the La La Land post up within a good 30 seconds. I was like, wow, we did this really quickly. Okay, underwhelming, but it's over with. And then all of a sudden, I don't remember the second producer's name, not Jordan Horowitz, but the other one comes out and it just says oh yeah, we didn't win. And I'm sitting watching with my friend and we're both just wait, what? What the fuck? What's going on? And just kind of screamed at the TV for a good 10 seconds. And then Matt and I were just freaking out. Yeah, it was insane. I feel I don't even know. I mean, I feel great about it. I love that Moonlight won. It's just incredible. And I definitely didn't expect that. I mean, I expected, if anything, as we talked about in our last episode, that maybe Barry Jenkins would win director and La La Land was just a lock for Best Picture. But how ridiculous is it that they actually spent 2 whole minutes saying their acceptance speeches? This didn't happen in 5 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 whole minutes before the Oscars realized what was up and did something about it.
It's just so surreal and crazy. And I can't imagine, even just talking about it, it's this is the fucking craziest thing. I just can't, what do you do when you're there? The thing I love the most is all the photos and gifs of the reactions in the audience.
So good. Shirley MacLaine clutching her chest and crying.
I know. They're just what? Charlize Theron looks like she's about to just lose her mind laughing. She thinks this is the most insane thing in the world. Ryan Gosling's face where he's just giggling.
So good. And then the Moonlight kids just literally leaping into the air.
Oh my God.
So
I mean,
beautiful.
I mean, Barry Jenkins and the cast and the looks on their faces, that is an incredible feeling, I have to imagine. We should bottle that feeling and sell it on tour stops outside the Chinese theater. Yeah, that's just so crazy. And I'm really, really happy that Moonlight won. I guess maybe I didn't really think about it. I mean, because kind of the same thing happened with Selma, right? Selma won Best Picture, but Best Director went to whoever that year.
Wait, Selma? You mean Spotlight?
No, I thought, didn't Selma win something?
Selma was nominated 2 years ago, but Birdman, that's the year Birdman won director and Best Picture.
Oh, fuck that. Okay.
Because there was that whole weird thing with what was it? The screeners were sent out late, so there was the whole issue that not enough people voted for it supposedly.
Am I thinking maybe of 12 Years a Slave, then that 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture, but Best Director went to someone else?
Yeah, it was separate. Yeah, 12 Years a Slave won in 2014, and yeah, Gravity won Best Director, Alfonso Cuarón. So that was a little surprise.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. So what was it, a few years ago, 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture, but Best Director went to Alfonso Cuarón for Gravity. which they really should have subtitled like Gravity, the Thrill Ride. um, this is what it is. It's like an amusement park ride, but like really
Totally.
good. Um, but it was just like in my head, I remember thinking at the time, just like, what is this shit? Did 12 Years a Slave direct itself? Like why why, and that was the year where I was like, why do we split it up this way? Like is it just to like be like, oh well, this is like sort of a compromise, like you get
Yeah. Toss one to one movie and then the other movie gets the big prize.
which is, I don't know, the whole thing is really dumb anyway, but like I don't know, I at least Moonlight won, like that was it. Somebody somebody shared a photo of Damien Chazelle's face
Oh my
during
God,
that
it's
whole
so
thing.
good.
Did you see that where it was
Yes.
like, this is like a supervillain's origin story. And it is. Like now he's gonna come back and it's gonna be like jazz with a vengeance. We're gonna get like new metal jazz.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he
I
definitely
can't.
was devastated. His little 12-year-old boy face.
I get real I get real vibes off of him that are similar to, oh, who am I thinking of? That didn't Whoever had that like really terrible pouty face during some other insufferable director. Who am I thinking of? Some other insufferable white male director who was like upset when they did not win a few
Oh.
years ago.
I mean, that must be like really insane to be up on stage. Because wait, was he on stage? I don't remember. He must have been, right? He was a producer.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah, that must be. I wanted to just see. I want to see like everyone's facial expression as this happened, like a portrait of everyone's face. But I also really want to know what actually. I mean, we kind of know we have more information now what actually went down as far as the envelope whole thing. But I just want to know who kind of recognized it first and like how that just erupted backstage. Because why did Jimmy Kimmel come out with Warren Beatty, but why didn't the two Price Waterhouse Cooper people come out, or why didn't a producer come out? Like, what was actually going down back there, and why did it take a whole 2 minutes?
I don't. That's a really good question. I mean, we got a little bit more information yesterday, which was like the one Price Waterhouse Cooper. God, what is that name? We need to, you know what? The real controversy here is that they continue to spell their name that
It's
way.
ridiculous, and it's one word. Like, just can put some spaces in there.
I was like triple checking it yesterday. I was like, this can't be okay, whatever. That's a choice. Yeah, like the one guy was like tweeting a picture of Emma Stone backstage, like just moments before he handed over the wrong envelope. And just 2 days before the Oscars, in an interview with the Huffington Post, they said it was when they were asked specifically what would happen if the wrong envelope was given and the wrong winner was announced. And they said that is so unlikely, so unlikely. And then it so happened. God,
I love
they just
that.
really
I love
set that one up so easily for me.
And they specifically said, I love that Mac Jacobs at HuffPost wrote that article 2 days before the awards because, like, who would have thought? And when he asked them what their protocol was, they said, well, we'd immediately let everyone know. We'd tell a stage manager, we'd tell the producer. It would be handled immediately. But beyond that, we have no specific protocol. Like, maybe you should change that.
They're like, it's unprecedented, so we have no real procedure for it. I mean, it's not technically unprecedented because, as Matt pointed out in his article, the Huffington Post, in 1964, Sammy Davis Jr. was supposed to be announcing the winner for, and I didn't even know that this used to be an award. This shows how much I know. Best Adaptation or Treatment Score. And instead, he was given the envelope for Best Original Score. So there was a little confusion. I mean, it's not exactly the same. It's just like he read the wrong score
Right.
winner and the wrong category. But it seems like something that was like very clearly like they knew that this was incorrect at the time. And then there was, and this I didn't even know about either, is that apparently there was like a whole controversy around Marissa Tomei's win for My Cousin
Right.
Vinny because there were people who thought that maybe there was some envelope switching
I think it was the
business
way
going
that
on.
the presenter, I don't know who presented her award, I forget, but I think the way that they announced it, people questioned sort of like the hesitancy or a pause in the way they said her name that made them think it was fake. or that they just sort of gave the award to her. But I think they've proven that like they counted the tallies and like yes, Marissa Tomei won by this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy. Yeah, I didn't even know that that was a thing. Like, and it seems very mean, and I feel bad for Marissa Tomei
I
now.
know.
Could you like imagine like you just won best what was it, best supporting actress or best actress?
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
But you just
Supporting, I
won an
think.
Oscar for your performance.
Yeah, just kidding.
uh, and
You see,
then
that would be even
everyone's
more.
like, I don't think that you deserved that.
I feel like that would be more embarrassing if one person went up and had their speech and then realized it was someone else, because then it's just like one person to be embarrassed. At least this was like an entire cast and crew, so they can all sort of be, feel embarrassed together. Like, I mean, obviously Jordan Horowitz like had his speech, but I feel like if Emma Stone went up and they're like, "Oh wait, just kidding, it's actually Meryl Streep." Like, how embarrassing would that be?
Jordan Horowitz, the husband of director Julia Hart. Uh, any opportunity to just like refer to a man as like the boyfriend or husband of someone else cool is
Do
just
it,
like
yeah.
really, yeah. Uh, like the whole thing with Asia Argento and Anthony Bourdain. Well, these like headlines are like Anthony Bourdain's new girlfriend, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, if you guys never, oh, okay. Yeah, like let's just forget that she's a filmmaker and actress and producer and incredibly brilliant, amazing person.
As the media so often does.
So screw that. We'll just refer to him as Asia Argento's boyfriend. Some food
Fine by
guy. I
me.
don't know. She's dating some cook.
Some
Like
guy who
whatever.
like wrote books, ate food, whatever.
Some former heroin addict too.
Harsh,
I mean,
but
like he
true.
would be the first person to tell you that. I mean,
Yeah,
I've read Kitchen Confidential.
yeah,
I love Anthony Bourdain. Who doesn't love Anthony Bourdain?
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so yeah, like back to this whole Best Picture thing. Yeah, that was like crazy. I can't imagine being up there and then being told like, actually, JK, you guys, psych, you totally did not win.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. And I almost wish, if anything, it's kind of a shame that when Warren Beatty came back out to like explain himself,
Oh.
and poor guy, like Jimmy Kimmel's like blaming him.
He's
But
like, I just want to say what happened.
yeah, I feel like he was like the grandpa at Thanksgiving dinner who was like, I didn't feed the dog. It's not my fault they're sick. They just ate the turkey.
What was I supposed to do? Yeah, I knew something was so weird already whenever they were like him and Faye Dunaway were like having that weird back and forth over who should read the thing. And I was like, what is going on with this envelope? Like,
Right, and now we
why?
know that well, supposedly, according to TMZ, there was some beef going on between the two of them beforehand.
Oh, yeah, because like apparently she demanded to read the winner.
Right. So apparently the whole thing is that I guess when they did the rehearsal before the show, they both refused to come out on the stage together because they were arguing over who was going to announce the title first. And he told her she would get to do it, but I don't think she believed him. So TMZ's theory is that she saw him sort of looking at the card, hesitating, not realizing that he noticed he had the wrong card, and so she just grabbed it and set it to like steal the spotlight before he took it from her.
Oh
And
my
then,
God.
and I love how she didn't even kind of come back out. It's just him. And apparently, what she was like in the back eating cashews.
Yes, yes. Oh, what was the line? It was in Vanity Fair. It was like Dunaway, like eating cashews, seemingly unfazed.
Yeah.
Um, I have to say, like, I love this whole thing too because not to keep distracting from the fact that it's amazing that Moonlight won Best Picture, but I love how this thing with Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty is such like an old Hollywood situation.
Hmm.
Like this is like very clearly like Faye Dunaway is still in method character for Mommy Dearest as like Joan Crawford and is
Yes.
still like being petty. Uh I mean like I love that. I love that they just like had this like weird little mini feud.
Yeah. Now Ryan Murphy has season 3 already planned out.
Oh my God. Yeah. And you really could just have Faye Dunaway play herself. She would do it
Totally
too.
good.
I mean, she's bananas. I love her. She might be my favorite actress like of all time.
Oh
Like
wow,
all time. She's incredible.
she's great. I
She
mean,
is great.
what is the last thing she's done though that was? It's been a minute, I guess.
I feel like she did like some James Franco movie. I mean, like
That
who
doesn't surprise
hasn't?
me. Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
everyone does.
yeah. I mean, it is awesome that Moonlight won. Like, not to distract from that. Also, I mean, I guess we've all been consumed in like the envelope gate and the gifts because they are fantastic. But it's pretty awesome that the first LGBT film and the first film with a predominantly black cast. Well, I guess all black cast because there's not one single white actor on screen in this movie.
Huh.
Um,
I didn't really think about that.
yeah, I mean, I haven't like actually gone through it frame by frame and looked, but I've noticed that, and then I've noticed in multiple reviews people say that there haven't been any white characters, at least like with speaking roles when you think about it.
That's that's another layer of brilliance then. Like I really didn't even I don't know whether to feel good about myself or maybe bad for even mentioning it that I didn't even notice it. That's like I feel like me saying I didn't even notice that sounds like it's not genuine, but I swear it is. This isn't like me saying like I don't see skin color.
Yeah, no. I feel like I didn't notice it the first time either until I read something about it. But then you're just so absorbed in this world that Barry Jenkins creates that you're not really, I don't know, you're not really thinking about like, where are the white people here? You're just like, this is the world and this is where we are.
Where the
And
white people at? Where are my white folks? I don't know. Yeah, I don't. You know, the thing is maybe it's because I'm not looking for that because I'm not. That's not a priority. I don't know because like I know that when I go to the movies, something I always specifically look for is how many women and people of color are even in background extra or
Mhm.
supporting roles. Like how many, like are they represented fairly on screen in general?
Yeah.
I'm always like looking in the background at like crowds and I'm like, how many, like, how accurate is this to real life? Or is this like an imaginary world where like only white dudes exist? Um, so yeah, I mean, like maybe that's it is like, you know, like that's not something I've keyed into because that's not my life experience.
Yeah. And the fact that this movie, I was looking for a while trying to figure out the exact budget, which was kind of hard to find, but I'm pretty sure it was made for 1.5 million, which is insane, and it's still the best picture winner with the lowest box office number. What's how do I phrase that better? Not the lowest box office. It has the least box office returns. How do you?
It sounds like you're insulting it. It has like the lowest ticket sales of any film that's ever won. It's
I,
atrocious.
I feel like it sounds negative. Yeah, no, it has. I feel like I phrased this better the other day. It's compared to all the other Best Picture winners, it has it didn't make as much money. So I don't know. That's what it was. But now hopefully that will change. I mean, now it's
It's
on
less
VOD and probably going to be in more theaters.
it's less privileged in the box office department. I think maybe that's the polite way. I don't
Maybe
know.
the lowest grossing Best Picture winner. There we go.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
That sounds
That sounds
better.
better. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So are we gonna talk about other stuff that happened, or is this
We're
just
just
like
gonna talk about Moonlight. No, yeah, let's talk about other stuff. Did you have a favorite moment beyond? Because it wasn't really the most exciting award show, but did you have a favorite moment before you turned the TV off?
um listen. I uh, I mean, I thought it was really cute that like the candy was falling from the sky. I thought there were some cute things. I thought it was just kind of delightful that Javier Bardem was watching Bridges of Madison County and he's like, this is the movie that made me want to be an actor. And
Yeah.
it's just like, wow. That's so there's something really cute and dorky about that I like though. But I know like how do you say? I never feel more like a basic bitch than when I watch mean tweets, like celebrities reading mean tweets, because I think it is so delightful. And there was something like I don't know, I got probably like unnaturally excited when they were reading the mean tweets. I was like, yes. And then I was like kind of disappointed. I was like, would it have been too obvious to have Meryl read a Donald Trump tweet? Like,
Mm. I mean, they literally tweeted at Trump, so I
I
feel like they
know
could have done that.
they really should have had her read it. It just seems like why wouldn't you have her do that? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
other than that, I don't really know. I mean, it was the rest of it was fine. It wasn't bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably just more boring, I think. I thought Kimmel was a pretty tame host. He didn't
Yes.
really, I mean, he's always safe. He never has anything that's a little too daring or that is, even his remarks about Trump were just, I think we could have even done without it. They weren't saying anything smart or funny.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just like the most obvious thing. I mean, there was one joke that did make me laugh that I was telling you guys. I was like, oh, I actually thought that was, oh, it was the OJ joke. Like, OJ gets an extra piece of bologna on his sandwich tonight. And I thought that was funny. And apparently the audience did not think that was funny. Maybe it's the audience. Maybe that's why we keep getting crappy Oscar hosts because they're like, this is not an edgy crowd.
Maybe. Yeah, we
It
haven't.
should be an edgier crowd. I mean, like the best host I think was Jon Stewart, and it was because he didn't feel. I mean, this is an award show that makes Chris Rock feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's saying something.
That's really weird to me. I mean, credit where credit's due, though. Jimmy Kimmel has really come a long way. I mean, he's become so family friendly and so like, vanilla that you forget that he once co-hosted a show with Adam Carolla
Yes.
about drinking and objectifying women on trampolines.
Yeah, that feels like another era. It's so weird to realize that.
It doesn't feel like the same person.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam Carolla is the same person.
Hmm.
Jimmy Kimmel is not the same. Do you think they still talk? What do you think they probably talk about?
They probably have a thread, like a messaging thread where
They
they
probably have a Slack.
yeah, probably. Let's get someone to hack their Slack thread. It's like
Hack
Jimmy
the
Kimmel is
Slack.
still that same guy from the Man Show. What was it? Was it called the Man Show?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. The
that's what I
man
thought.
show.
Yeah. And he's actually just been like his body's been overtaken by like this like really nice white guy that's like holding him like hostage. But when he talks to Adam Carolla, he's actually still that guy.
Like he's not even really it's like one of those, like an Under the Skin when she like sucks the dude's soul. It's just like the skin. So it's like that, but inside is like just vanilla pudding.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy Kimmel.
Vanilla pudding. Yep.
He's like I mean that's kind of mean, but like I just think that's like a really funny mental image to have. Yeah, so he was fine. I mean, I guess whatever. I don't know. I mean, honestly, like having watched, I mean, I didn't watch all of it, but I did watch the opening of the Independent Spirit Awards the night before.
Hmm.
And I was like, why aren't we having Nick Kroll and John Mulaney host the Oscars?
Yeah, we should get someone that's just not as someone that's like an actual comedian, maybe would be nice.
I mean, not only are those guys actually from comedy backgrounds, they have strong writing backgrounds and careers. Mulaney is one of the producers and writers on Documentary Now on IFC, which is really, really good. Um, they're both just and they just had a very successful off-Broadway show,
Oh, that's
and
right.
then on Broadway. Oh, hello. I mean, they took I mean, it's probably like my favorite fictional characters ever and put them on Broadway. And it's like guys that you shouldn't probably ever put on Broadway. But they have very like they have all of the things I think on like the checklist of what you need to have. Like they're funny, they're good writers, they have good timing, they know how to perform on stage. Like why and they're white men. There you go. Why not? Like
Yeah, the Academy will agree to that.
but their humor, I mean, watching the Independent Spirit Awards, their jokes were A plus.
Oh
Like
man,
so good. I was in tears.
I still haven't watched it, so I need to do that.
You just watch like the opening. Just watch the first 10 minutes and you'll be like, wow, Britt was right. They should host the Oscars. And then we'll start a campaign for next year.
Yes, let's do it.
Before they get someone else like Jimmy Fallon, they're like,
Yeah.
okay, who's the next white Jimmy to
Ugh.
call?
We should get someone like I don't know, like Issa Rae or something.
Oh my God. Yeah. Get somebody completely different.
Yeah,
You get the girl from Moana, like, get Lin-Manuel Miranda.
he can do it. Totally.
I don't care if he like freestyles the whole thing. That would be great. I don't know. It was just like a really serious kind of year. It felt like everything that they did was like with like reverence and it's like here are like all these like tributes to like the films that inspired these people and
That
like
is true. Yeah.
here's the woman from NASA. you can't joke about these things.
That's true. And there was sort of this tension of like who's going to have a political speech and who's going to come up and say something.
Oh my God. My crush for Gail Garcia Bernal like increased tenfold. I was like, whoa. He just like very casually was like, I'm just gonna say this.
Yeah, totally. That definitely was not planned.
And Haley Steinfeld was like, okay. Like, what else do you do?
You just go with it.
She's like, the teleprompter is not telling me how to respond. I'm kidding. She's better than that. But I don't know. I mean, like, look, Hacksaw Ridge did not win a whole bunch of stuff, so there's that.
Yeah, it won, wait, 2 things, maybe?
It won, like, sound.
Oh, yeah, like sound mixing.
Which was one of the only things I got right on my...
Oh, yeah. I was so wrong. Prediction. I got, like, nothing right. And, and film editing, which, like, fine. Have it. You can take...
I mean, whoever edited that film made it coherent. So, I mean, like, can you imagine being the person tasked with, like, taking Mel Gibson's, like, torture porn and turning it into something coherent? That's going to be, like, hundreds of hours of footage that's just, like, really questionable in nature. And you're like,
I guess this will work.
What was it? Like, Jimmy Kimmel made a joke early on about Mel Gibson, like, something about, like, rallying around him or something. I don't know. It like really annoyed me.
In his opening, he made a joke about something about like Braveheart. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, or it was like something like how even Braveheart couldn't defeat Trump or some crap, and I was like, I mean, Mel Gibson probably doesn't want to take Trump down right now.
Yeah, definitely not.
They're definitely hanging out at the same social clubs, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. I hate Mel Gibson. But speaking of
casually,
speaking of white dudes I hate, I don't know. Hate is kind of a strong word. I don't know that I hate Mel Gibson. I don't hate him the way that I hate like Johnny Depp, you know?
Yes, it's a different level of disgust.
Yeah, it's not so much that I hate Mel Gibson. I think is like the culture around him that allows Mel Gibson to keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what bothers me because I do believe that people can change. And I do believe that alcoholism is a disease and it makes you into a completely different person who is often a monster, who says horrible things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I get it. But, you know, it's also the same culture that allows Casey Affleck to receive an Oscar. And as has been pointed out, between this and the Golden Globes, Brie Larson has had to present him with an award twice now.
And she's handled it very well.
But also very obviously not even having any of this shit.
Yeah. I love it. I love that she's just like, here you go. Okay, bye.
Yep. She's like very like civil, but like I'm not applauding. I'm not like the look on her face when she read his name at the Golden Globes like said everything. She was just like, really? This guy?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping for Denzel, so that was one disappointment I get. I mean, I think he's good in that movie, but I feel like it could have been Denzel's year.
I think Casey Affleck is great in that movie. I don't know. It's one of those weird things. It's like I think he's really great in the movie. Do I think that we should not like praise him or like write about how great he is or like give him some sort of like pat on the back for being so good as an artist? Like, no, I just think that we're not in a place where like, I don't know. We're in a place where we're continuing to give men who do these awful things to people awards. Feels really awful. I don't know. It's just like you're just enabling them to happen. Like, look, no matter how many women you rape or assault or harass, or no matter how many racist things you say or do, you can still win an Oscar and continue to have a career.
Exactly. Yeah.
And no one will ever take that away from you, white man. So.
Yeah.
That's just, it just like, it bums me out. I don't know. So.
No, I totally agree. And I think it's harder to be tolerant of it now in the culture we're in. It's like, we just need to discuss it more. And maybe there's not a clear answer of like, yes or no, we shouldn't honor them or we should or whatever it is. But it's definitely important to be cognizant about that. Like, these people still are getting accolades and getting work and getting forgiven by the industry and the culture around them.
Yeah, it's a really complex issue. I mean, and I was just talking to Karin Kusama a few weeks ago, and we were discussing how Roman Polanski has made some of the greatest films of all time. Like, he is an incredible artist whose contributions are invaluable. And yet, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. So, but I think it's worth, like you were saying, it's important to talk about these things. I mean, if nothing else, we're talking about them.
Totally. Well, to transition from, white dudes,
Yes.
this was the most diverse Oscars ever, which is pretty awesome. But also a shame that it took 89 years for 5 people of color to win in one night. Like, that shouldn't be something we have to celebrate, but it is.
Yeah, I know. And it almost feels like being a Debbie Downer to be like, it shouldn't have taken this long. But I mean, it's the truth. It shouldn't have taken this long. It doesn't mean it's not amazing that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
You can't still be, I mean, you can be happy about it while still saying, like, all right, guys, like, really, let this be a lesson. It shouldn't take you this fucking long.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome that it was. I didn't realize that so there's 2 actors of color that won, and then because both Barry Jenkins and Terrell Alvin McCraney won for screenplay, that pushed it past the 5 plus what's his name, Ezra OJ Made in America, Ezra Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. And it was cool to just see. I mean, just even before the award started, it was like the most diverse as far as nominees. So little
It really,
progress is
yeah.
being made.
And wasn't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw an article about this, but that Mahershala Ali was the first Muslim actor to receive an award.
Yeah, the first Muslim actor to win an Oscar.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And important.
And Viola Davis became the first Black actor to win an Oscar, Emmy, and a Tony.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're so close.
I know.
Do you think, oh my God, I think she needs to collaborate with Lin-Manuel Miranda
Ooh.
on one of his new projects.
Yes.
And then they can both get their EGOT. Like, he'll get his Oscar and she'll get her Grammy.
Yeah, we need to start a campaign. Why has this not happened yet?
Like, he's really smart. I have to imagine that after the Oscars, at whatever party they ended up at, he was probably like, Viola, may I call you Viola? And she's like, call me V. And he's like, all right, V, listen. And she was like, this is a great idea. Because, like, he has, like, an animated film. He actually has 2, but he has one that he's doing with Disney with Byron Howard, the co-director of Zootopia, that they're being kind of secretive about right now. But, like, they're doing this animated film. And I'm just saying, like, he's writing the music and stuff. And, like, Viola Davis could do, like, a voice. And then she could, like, sing. And then it could be, like, she could be on the soundtrack. And then, like, she gets her Grammy. And then
I'm into it. Get them the Grammys right now.
I mean, I'm not holding my breath because the Grammys gave Album of the Year to Adele, which even Adele was like, you guys are high as fuck right now.
Yes, such a shame. I loved all the memes, though, of Jordan Horowitz holding up the card that said lemonade.
Oh my God. Jordan Horowitz, we follow each other on Twitter because I am more familiar with his wife, Julia Hart, who I've interviewed before and who I think is amazing. But I think he only follows me because his wife follows me. And I was like, it was like a few months ago. I was like, who's this? Oh, I was like, it was Julia's husband. Oh, cool. He's following me. And never was I really like thinking like, oh, he's like a producer or whattever. I knew he was like a screenwriter and stuff, but I was like, whatever. And now I'm like, oh, that's that guy that follows me on Twitter. What's he doing on the Oscar stage? It's Julia's husband. What's he doing? But
well, you
no,
follow,
I mean, like,
you're
he really
followed
handled
by
that well.
a Oscar winner, an almost Oscar winner.
Mm-hmm.
No, yes, he did. I think that. I mean, I feel like there was a little bit of like praise on Twitter for how well he handled it, and like, okay, yeah, sure, but like, what else would you have done? I mean, he handled it well, but let's not like.
I know, but it's also
award
just like
because he handled it well.
It's funny to me that like because what else would you have done? Like,
what are you gonna be like? No, you said my name. Like, I'm gonna keep this. Like, duh.
But I love the fact that, like, what it says about so many people praising him for doing the right thing. I love what that says about us as a society that, like, we have to praise him for doing the right thing because it is so possible that someone would do the totally wrong thing.
Right. A white
What
man
else would
does
he have
something
done?
nice.
Like, I had a friend on Facebook the other day who posted, like, here's a fun game to play. Imagine if Mel Gibson, like if Hacksaw Ridge had accidentally been announced as the Best Picture winner and Mel Gibson had to give his Oscar back
I,
to the cast of Moonlight
I
and
don't
the
want to play
producers
that
of
game.
Moonlight. It's a really scary game to play.
Oh my God. We would have had a very different discussion during this podcast, I'm sure.
Mel Gibson would be like on the stage hugging his Oscar, like, no, no.
It would just turn into the war zone from Hacksaw Ridge. Bodies
He'd
would be
throw-
flying, flamethrowers would come out.
He's got like a helmet on, and Andrew Garfield's like rushing onto the stage to try and like mediate. He's like dragging people out of there to safety. And Mel Gibson's just like in the corner, clutching his Oscar like a child.
Well, maybe
Yeah, I can't.
maybe he'll win for Suicide Squad 2 now that Suicide Squad's an Oscar winner.
Oh my god, what is this planet?
I don't know. You know, at
Like,
least Passengers didn't win, I guess, you know, at the very least. We were blessed a little bit.
Who even won Best Score? I forget.
La La Land. Of course not Mika Levy, because there is no justice.
Mika Levy will get hers. Like, I'm not even worried about it. Mika Levy will get hers one day, and it'll be one of those things where it's like a bajillion years from now, like a late Scorsese or a late what's his name? It was Christopher Nolan's cinematographer who made that crappy movie.
Are you talking about Interstellar?
No, Transcendence.
Oh, I thought you were an Interstellar hater for a minute. And I'm about to be like, really?
I am an Interstellar
gosh.
hater, though.
All right, let's just skip this conversation.
I wrote a whole article, in case anyone's curious. Just sidebar. I wrote an entire article for Birth Movies Death a few years ago about how Interstellar is a masculine fantasy garbage movie. It's just so much docking. Anyway. What's his name though? You know what I mean. So like a lot of like the cinematographers didn't like it take Lubeski for like forever to win one.
Hoyt van Hoytema.
No, the other one.
Oh, the Transcendence movie. Oh, okay. Oh, right. I know what you're saying. The director of Transcendence. Yeah, I forget his name.
Right. It starts with a W, but you know, whatever.
Wally Pfister.
Wally Pfister. I don't know. Does he know her? Oh God, I'm sorry. I can't. Every time I hear his name, I say like the worst jokes. Yeah, I think Mika Levy will get her Oscar eventually. Like, no doubt in my mind. And it'll be one of those things where it's like way later, and it will be for something that's not nearly as good as her scores for Under the Skin or Jackie, but like it'll be long overdue.
And she's still super young. She's like 30 years old, so she's got time. Not that it should be a matter of she has time, but like I'm sure she'll be making
younger than that actually.
Let's see.
She was like 18 when she did the Under the Skin score.
Wikipedia is telling me she was born in 1987.
That's
so
bananas. I thought she was younger than that.
She looks younger for sure.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here Googling, still trying to remember the name of the white director who was very clearly perturbed that he wasn't winning at the Oscars. I don't know how to Google it. Director.
Angry White Man Oscars. I feel like I didn't see that many great reactions this year.
No, I was waiting for some better ones. It just wasn't a very exciting year, you know, and Jack Nicholson is also missed.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
When you don't have any good reaction faces, you just like pan to Jack.
I feel like we didn't get that many good gifts out of this Oscars, you know, minus what happened in the final like 3 minutes. But before that, it was like Meryl's gif of like hiding behind her husband is great. I'm definitely like have already saved that on my desktop, ready to use it. But beyond that, I don't know.
I just remembered.
Who was it?
It was Jason Reitman.
Oh, when was this?
Because I remembered without seeing it in Google. I don't remember what year it was. But I remember very clearly there was like a shot of him in the audience reacting to not winning. Maybe it was for Up in the Air.
Ah,
He looked very displeased, and like he was not clapping for like any of his fellow nominees or anything.
oof. I feel like if you know you're on camera, you should at least kind of control your emotions and make sure you look a little pleasant.
Yeah. But we didn't even get much of that this year. I mean, like there were really no good reactions, like positive or negative. No,
Yeah.
I mean, except for at the end.
Yeah,
And it was
before
like,
that, not much. Maybe it just wasn't an exciting enough night. I don't know. Or the camera didn't seem to be on like a wide diversity of people. I feel like we kept cutting back to Meryl and Denzel. Like it was just like sort of the main nominees and not like I didn't even know Jennifer Aniston and Justin Theroux were there until she like gave her sunglasses to Gary from Chicago or whatever.
wasn't that? But that was like after the In Memoriam, right? She introduced the In Memoriam.
Oh. Oh, was it? Shit.
I didn't even know Jennifer Aniston was there, and I just saw her.
I don't remember. I was probably tweeting.
Yeah, I don't know. The In Memoriam felt weirdly short.
It did. And didn't they wait, did they leave out Alan Rickman or am I wrong?
No, they didn't, because my thing was like, wait, I was like, where the hell is? Because I thought for a second too, because they didn't have David Bowie, and then I thought
But
for
he
a second,
was
I
in
was like,
last year.
yeah, and I was like, oh, well, they're doing the Joni Mitchell song that's in Love Actually, so they're gonna start with like Alan Rickman, and they didn't, and I was like, oh wait, because I think the thing is like Bowie and Rickman both died last January, and so they would have been
Oh.
featured in the last In Memoriam.
Yeah, that might be true. I forgot
But
that.
there are
that
people
Rickman.
that were left out.
And there were people that were given the wrong photo.
Yes, like a living person's photo was used for a dead
Yeah,
woman.
have they apologized for that yet?
I don't think they have. I don't know. I mean, I think they were like, we have more pressing matters right now.
True.
We gotta figure out what the hell to do with the PWCs.
Oh gosh.
It's so weird. I mean, like they did. I'm trying to remember. They left out some. I guess I was reading an article about this. Like the In Memoriam, like left out a few people who were more known for their TV roles. Yet they featured Mary Tyler Moore, who was arguably best known for her TV work. I don't know. It's just like their whole like system of picking and choosing is weird to me, because they had one that was just like, here's an executive. I think that was his thing. It was like executive. And it was like, really? That guy, like, who did they pay off to get that in there instead of, you know, other people? Or like Alexis Arquette wasn't in there. And I was like, that's kind of a bummer thing to do, you guys. Yeah. Alexis Arquette was in Pulp Fiction. So
yeah.
I was trying to think, like, what's like the biggest, most Oscar-y movie that could like justify it? And like, you know, in my mind, it's The Wedding Singer. But we'll just say for the sake, Pulp Fiction.
Two reasons that she should have been in there, though.
Yeah, it was that's real. How dare you insult the Arquette family? I hope Patricia sends them a very strongly worded letter. The best Arquette. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, what else? There were some real dumb awards. What won for sound editing? Wasn't it? It was something stupid, right?
Oh, I don't know. Oh no, Arrival. Oh, I was surprised that Arrival did get some awards. That was pretty great.
Yeah, I was. I mean, because I don't think any of us really genuinely thought that was gonna have a shot, which is sad. But
I didn't think it would even get this many nominations initially.
Yeah, I mean, like if there were to be a sci-fi film in recent memory that would, though, it would be this one.
Completely.
Somewhere Christopher Nolan is really sad. He's like, maybe next year with my big war movie, which in my mind is already being overshadowed by this other like romantic comedy Dunkirk movie.
Wait, there's a romantic comedy Dunkirk?
Yes, there's like oh god, there was like a trailer for it the other day, and I can't. What's it called? Their Finest.
Oh, I thought it was called Dunkirk.
No, I wish it was called Rom-Com Dunkirk.
Oh yeah, They're Fine. Didn't that I think that premiered at Toronto. Is it being overshadowed? I don't know. I feel like I'm like very excited for Dunkirk. So
I'm really excited for my favorite part of Christopher Nolan movies, which is spotting all the terrible extras. Because his extras, I don't know why, they're extra bad. Like they're just so excited to be in a Chris Nolan movie or something. I don't know, but like they are a delight. And there's already one like in that first teaser has one. That first teaser
Oh,
has
that's
a bad
right.
extra. So you know, when
Well,
it
at
comes to
least
bad
there's
extras,
Harry Styles is there.
he's the One Direction one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That one, that one guy. Didn't he date Taylor Swift? I just assume.
Um, I don't know. I'm not a Taylor Swift dating expert.
I mean, she's kind of dated. No offense, not saying this in an insulting way, but she's kind of dated everyone. So it's just hard for me to remember them all. It's not. It just sounds like very insulting, but it's not. You do you, Taylor Swift. Dating is hard. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's got like a really good cast. I never hate watching Christopher Nolan movies. I love a few of them quite a lot, but uh, he's just really gonna have to turn this one around after Interstellar for me. I saw like two articles today that were like speculating about which movies and directors would be nominated for next year's Oscars like
Oh yeah, I
already.
saw one like yesterday morning. I was like, calm down. We were still talking about Moonlight and La La Land.
There's just I don't know, but I did see Dunkirk popped up there.
I mean, that's probably if we're gonna go there, it's probably going to be in the conversation. I feel like.
There's
Um,
no way they ignore Marco Rylance. Like there's no like that dude's already gonna have a nomination. Like forget about it.
oh yeah,
Like,
him and his little hats, his cute
oh,
little
his little
hats.
hats are so adorable. Like I hate hats, but I really like Mark Rylance and
Yeah,
hats.
like he like reinvents the hat. It just works.
um, back to this year's Oscars. I guess like we talked about like neither of us dislike La La Land,
No,
but
and I mean, yeah, neither of us are haters. I feel like the
oh,
whole backlash conversation was overblown completely, and I'm almost glad that La La Land. I mean, obviously, I'm glad that La La Land didn't win because I wanted Moonlight to win personally. But if it did, I feel like there would have been just a complete, just like angry, long form pieces and think pieces, just sort of taking it down. But I think now this might have been the best thing that could have happened to La La Land. Now that in years to come, no one's gonna look back and be like, "Ooh, like the terrible La La Land film that beat Moonlight." It's like, okay, it won Best Director, and now people I think are gonna be more inclined to like it if they like it, and if they didn't, they'll let it pass. But I feel like it's going to have like a better narrative in its future now that it didn't win.
I agree. I mean, like I think there was already anticipation for the backlash after it premiered in Toronto. Like it was I mean, the effusive reactions to it had already kind of, in a way, set me against it when I went to go see it. Whereas, like, when I finally went to the press screening and I was like, I kind of had this, like, attitude in my head that was just like, this movie has something to prove to me.
Hmm.
Because I don't know, it's like every once in a while you see reviews from, like, a film festival and you can already tell like this is going to be that movie that's going to be like in the awards conversation and everyone thinks it's like mind-blowingly good and then like 6 months from now when like other press begin to see it it's like no it's actually not that good. I mean like so you can already I think what it was not so much that I was against La La Land from the outset as I was already like pre-exhausted
Right.
of like the whole cycle.
Because
Like I
we're
was
so
like I
conditioned
can't.
by it that once, I mean, if there's any hype around anything, like, of course, people always point to, like, or not always, but last year pointed to Birth of a Nation. So,
Mhm.
which, like, how was that a year ago? That feels like, wow. I feel like that was like 4 years ago at this point. But I feel like that even happened, like, at this year's Sundance with Mudbound. Everyone thinks that that might be, like, a big Oscar contender, but I can easily see that premiering later on and people sort of being lukewarm on it. So it's just like, it's hard to tell because when you see something that's like premiering for the first time, there's going to be like this, huge reaction, and people are so inclined to just go to the Oscars conversation as early as January. So it's kind of the nature of it is you have to sort of try to not follow the hype and be as objective as you can. But it's so hard to do when we're doing this like every day and writing about these movies and then having to make all these predictions.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's the same kind of exhaustion I feel like the anticipatory exhaustion of like the DC movies Like, I'm just exhausted thinking about these movies
Hmm.
of like the next like 7 years of this like marketing cycle. I just can't, I don't know. Like, and just sitting through that bleak world for like 20 something hours. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, by the time something arrives, it feels like we've already been spending so much time with it that it's not fresh anymore.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just all of which is to explain why I was not as excited for La La Land. And I like, but half an hour in it already charmed the pants off of me. I mean, not literally, but like I was like, oh, this is quite charming. I mean, like, it does not have a really great sound mix, which is like that Oscar nomination is baffling. That's like the weakest part of that movie. The sound mix is like way off.
I'd say the
Um,
screenplay. I mean, I don't remember all the sound mixing issues that you've pointed out, but I still think most surprised that it got screenplay.
yeah, I mean, because like honestly, all right, and I will preface this by saying, like, I'm not an Emma Stone hater. I've always found her very charming, like everyone
Hmm.
else does. Although I think she may be veering dangerously close into like Jennifer Lawrence territory, where like
Mm,
if
I hope not. She seems like I don't know. I feel like she won't go that far.
it's like I worry. I'm like, when is this gonna run out? Like, because like at some point, I don't know. I think it's like Emma Stone. I think at least makes more interesting choices. So,
Yeah.
and I don't.
Just don't play a
I don't know.
QVC host that invented a mop and you'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe that's it too. But I also think like I don't think Emma Stone gave the greatest performance of the year as far as the women were concerned. Not by a long shot. And I think that I'm saying that, admitting that she's quite good in La La Land, and which takes us back to the screenplay. Like, that character is not particularly written very well. And if you took Emma Stone out of that movie, if you were to just sit down and maybe just read the screenplay, or if that movie were turned into like a book and you read it, you would think that that character was poorly written. Like, we never really see, there's not much to her interior life. She doesn't really have an interior life. And we only like really see anyone from her neck of the woods when she goes home to her parents' house for like 5 minutes.
That's
And they're
true.
kind of non-characters.
I feel like if anything, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I feel like if anything, there's credit to be given to Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling for bringing a charming
Exactly.
ability out of what is very like bland people on paper. Like they do have a really delightful chemistry that's just like intoxicating and really just like lovely to watch, and it just makes you. I mean, I had a smile on my face for most of La La Land. It's just it feels so good. But like we said, this was like such a competitive year for actresses that someone who's really delightful and bubbly and charming doesn't necessarily mean they're the best compared to Natalie Portman or even Ruth Negga, who's doing something so different with a role that's just very quiet and very toned down, or Isabelle Huppert, who's just like doing her own fucking thing off the rails in Elle. So it's just totally different levels of performances. But I feel like Emma Stone was the safest pick. Um, Maybe
She
next to Meryl
really
Streep, but
was.
yeah.
It was like, oh, okay. I mean, like, good for you. You are a good actress. I find you really likable, and I think that you do some really wonderful things. But, like, of that selection of actresses for those roles, oh my God, like, Isabelle Huppert, like, how do you even, and if not Isabelle Huppert, Natalie Portman,
I love how she just didn't
how do
show
you
up.
not? I don't get it. Like, I really don't. But I
Yeah.
think, going back to what you were saying about like like if La La Land really had won Best Picture and all like the think pieces that would have come out. I mean, like, yeah, I can already like read them in my head, like in the headlines and everything, and it's just like because it's a frustration that I felt. It's what made me turn off the TV like immediately after they said it was like the most diverse year in Oscars history, and you gave it to the whitest fucking movie of the year.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
The narrative
So
is almost too perfect, like to fit with all the backlash that like for a good 2 minutes the world thought that they had lost like all faith in the Academy, and then there was like this like last minute turn of hope. Like, it's just kind of like a part of me wonders like did some like stage producer backstage like purposefully give the tweeting PCW guy, whatever his name is, like the wrong envelope and plan this? Like, is there any conspiracy behind
I
that?
know. I've been very conspiracy minded lately, so that was definitely my thing. It was like set this up? Like whether, I mean, like, I don't know, to say like that somebody did it knowing that it would be corrected and then that way like both films kind of got to have their moment. Like that seems like a bit of a stretch. But that Damien Chazelle, our new supervillain, may have planted someone.
I can't wait.
I don't know.
I hope there's like a mini series on like all the possible conspiracies.
It's like an M. Night Shyamalan superhero supervillain story, and it's like Damien Chazelle he's really mad about jazz, you guys. But it really would have been so infuriating had that been the outcome. I think because again, like the diversity conversation, and then you start to feel like it's very false. And then also, I mean, like for a movie like La La Land, which has been accused of whitewashing the shit out of jazz, to win over like a genuine like black film.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, that's really, and I don't think that those think pieces that would have been written, I don't think that those would have been unfair. Like, I think that it would have been perfectly good to call that out.
Definitely. I'm glad that the conversation was headed in that direction for people. Probably, I bet you they were already written and someone had to delete their piece. But I also wonder if what would have got lost in the conversation is the fact that, and I feel like everyone always says this, but beyond the diversity factor, like Moonlight is just a better movie, period. So even if this really white movie beat this all black movie that is, the small, tiny budget film about a queer black boy, like it's still just, regardless, if you don't even want to talk about race, you don't want to talk about sexuality or budgets, like it's just a better movie by miles. So it worked out, I'm happy with the Oscars. I just wish that maybe they had a little more time to actually like give the speech that they would have given, but we get to see, little Alex Hibbert like bouncing up and down with a smile on his face. Like how beautiful is that?
Yeah, that's like really amazing. And then like the next day it's like, oh, and the guys from Moonlight are in Calvin Klein ads now. What's up?
Like what a Monday treat.
Perfect. Yeah, and Trevante Rhodes, who is from Austin and went to UT. He was here for a screening when I went to see it. And I didn't realize that he was from here and had gone to the college here. And I thought that was really awesome. And he was talking about how amazing it was to have this role, because a lot of the stuff that he had been auditioning for, had been offered, was, like TV and stuff that wasn't as thoughtful or compelling or challenging. And so even just being able to play such a character that was not conventional, he felt really emboldened by it. So I don't know. I think he does. Yeah, he's great. I think they all deserve it.
Yeah.
So happy. Of like the many Naomi Harris roles that she's had in the last few years where I have not realized that it's Naomi Harris until the credits roll, that is my favorite.
Yeah. She just totally disappears in it.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I must have like very specific Naomi Harris facial blindness. Because every time she's in a movie, I'm like, oh, I know who this is. Like, she seems very familiar. She's really good. Even in Collateral Beauty, I'm like, oh, she's good. Who is this? Like, she looks familiar. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's Naomi. Really? Okay. I will never. She's like that one like coworker where it's like, I will never learn her name no matter how hard I try. I'm like, I'm really trying here.
And it also lends, the fact that she looks so much older in Moonlight and obviously is looking more like a drug addict than when she's like sitting there beautiful in a gown at the Oscars. There's a definite difference.
Oh man, I don't know what else is there. There's nothing else. I think that's it. Like,
I feel like that's
the Oscars.
I feel like we covered it.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to do this again until next awards season. When does that start?
But hopefully there'll be good stuff to talk about. Maybe we'll be talking about Dunkirk or the other Dunkirk or Suicide Squad. No, that's not. No, I don't know what we're going to be talking about.
They Came to Dunkirk. That's the other one. It's the romantic comedy Dunkirk. Maybe Get Out. Yeah.
Maybe.
Get Out.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so this is going to be our last podcast for a while.
Yeah, well, thanks for listening, and go back and listen to the other ones if you want to be nostalgic and remember what award season was like. I don't know. If you want to hear us yell about Mel Gibson, the episodes are there.
And then for those of you who are not aware, our other podcast, Long Takes, is I don't know what's a good word for it. It's no more.
Yeah,
We're not doing any more of those. So
it's
if
retired.
you particularly enjoyed those, or if you haven't listened and you go listen and you decide that you really like them, you should tweet about it.
Yeah, you can find those on iTunes or on our YouTube page. And there's episodes about Star Wars. There's episodes about, gosh, I just blanked. There's a lot of episodes.
SNL.
SNL.
That was our last one.
Lots of great episodes about diversity. There's an episode on there about Elle and Isabelle Huppert. So if you want to hear more about that and why she's so phenomenal in that role, definitely check that out. Yeah, and for more Screen Crush news and stuff from us, you can go to screencrush.com and follow us on Twitter at ScreenCrush News. Like us on Facebook. What else can you do? You can follow us on Instagram and Snapchat. And
Yeah.
you can follow us on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at CinemaBite, Bite. And where are you at, Britt?
Miss Britt Hayes.
All right. Well, until next year.